Hey, everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. My name is Sean Ray, and I'm something of a scientist myself. Joining me in the historic Infinite Potato Studios, we have Dave. How you doing, sir?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing
Thanks
great.
for having me.
John is here as well. How's it going?
John is here. John is here. John is here.
Hopefully, John does not die at the end.
No, not the end of this one anyway. And Rick is here with us too. Rick, how's it going?
I generally try to avoid sticking to things, but I can't promise anything.
All right. So tonight we're going to have our full-on discussion of Spider-Man No Way Home. Just as I promised, it will be spoiler-filled. So if you haven't seen the movie, you might not want to listen to this episode yet. But before we get to that, I thought we should take a minute or a few minutes and pay tribute to a few people in the entertainment world that we've lost since the last time that we did a show. And at the top of the
long list. It's been a pretty deadly end of the year.
Just the last few. So at the top of the list is the one that we lost most recently. As we're recording this, the news came out last night that Bob Saggett died at the age of 65. He was in a hotel on the road after having done a show in Florida. So Rick did it. No.
Yep, with me.
And he was found dead in his hotel, which I know that a lot of celebrities have been found dead in hotels over the years, but they specified that there was no sign of drug use or foul play. So this seems to just be an unfortunate circumstance. I'm sure we'll eventually get word that it was a heart attack or a stroke or something like that.
Last report I saw a couple hours ago, they said he was in bed. He was just laying in bed. Everything was, it looked like he went to bed and just didn't wake up. And they don't know why yet. But
I listened to his podcast.
Crazy
he has a podcast. It's like called Bob Saggett's Listening to You or something like that. And he talks with different celebrities. He did an episode not long ago with Scott Bakula, but he did this thing over the lockdown that he put a thing out on his website. Hey, if you want me to call and talk to you on the show, I'm going to do a couple of special episodes where I'm just going to call and talk to random people about what's going on in their life with lockdown and stuff like that. And I listened to those episodes, and he would just call these people, and they would just tell him. It was almost like a therapy session, they would just tell him stuff that's going on. My mom had COVID, she's dying in the hospital right now and I can't go see her and stuff like that. He would just talk to him about it. And it was surprising that he died at 65 because listening to him talk, he sounds like he really kind of took care of himself. His wife is a health influencer, so, diet and exercise is not something that's abnormal to him, but sometimes the bill just comes due. So
I mean, by all reports, he was a really nice guy. I've never heard a bad word said about him. It's funny, everybody, all the obituaries and articles start with him being on Full House, but to me he'll always be the first host of America's Funniest Home Videos. I don't know if any of y'all saw him on that.
Oh yeah,
of course.
But that and if you've ever seen his stand-up, if you think Robin Williams had a foul mouth and you didn't expect him to, Saggett was he would make Red Fox blush.
Yeah, when he got off of Full House and he started doing stand up after that, he went very blue because he wanted to distance himself from that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to be known. He didn't mind being known as America's dad, but he didn't want to be typecast, and that's all he could play.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Full House, later on Fuller House, and he was the original host of AFV.
Fantastic director too.
Yeah. The one thing that I credit him is he did a performance on an episode of Shameless. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Shameless, but he played a filthy priest. And he was the guy. A couple of the characters were getting ready to get married, and they came to talk to the priest, and he was the priest, and he was like hungover and everything. And it's also the first time that I heard the term Alabama Hot Pocket. If you don't know what that is, Google it, but don't eat while you Google it, and don't do it at work.
I'm going to stay happy in bliss of ignorance of that one. Thank you.
And don't click on the images.
Yeah.
Tab.
Yeah, don't do that. All right.
Excuse me.
And then on New Year's Eve, we lost Betty White. And she was 99, about 3 weeks shy of her 100th birthday. Now, she's been a staple on television for decades. Of course, she's known for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Golden Girls. She was a pioneer in hosting like game shows and doing radio work and stuff like that. But she was a hilarious woman. And we all wanted to see her make it to 100, but she didn't quite get there. But
I like the things that were going around after she died, where it was basically saying, if you die at 99 and people say you died too soon, you've lived right.
Yeah. She was that one thing that I wanted to point out with her is that she was an advocate for all sorts of things like animals. She also was involved in LGBTQ causes, racial equality. As a matter of fact, she had her own variety show in the 50s. And it was a big deal back then for a woman to be the host of a show and her name is in the title. You know, it's the Betty White Show. And she had Arthur Duncan perform several times. He was a famous tap dancer. Well, I mean, he still is a famous tap dancer. He's still alive. But she was told to stop having him perform or she was going to lose her show. And she refused, and she did lose her show. And she had a career after that. She had a successful career after that, but she was never the star of her own named show after that. And she knew it would affect her career, and she did it anyway. And
anyone else hear that hum? Almost sounds like feedback.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, all right, maybe it's only in my.
One of the lesser head. It's one of the lesser talked about symptoms of COVID. That's the
yeah. Hey, that would not surprise me.
No,
yeah, it's like you just random tinnitus.
Well, I've got that anyway. I'm not. This is different from that.
Yeah. Did you guys want to say anything about Betty White?
She was just incredible. And you know, one of the saddest things, and it didn't dawn on me until someone posted a picture. Now all of the main cast of the Mary Tyler Moore Show are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that just broke my heart. It was, you know, the shot of the last scene where they're all hugging, and it's like everyone in that picture is now dead, and it's
Golden Girls too. All the whole cast from the Golden Girls are gone now too.
I have gallows humor. Like I'm a weird and my well, you know, I love Betty White. My wife loves her. My sister loves her. And I sent my sister a picture. I guess it looked like a coloring page of basically skeletons with wigs on. It said golden ghouls on it. She was like, too soon. But yeah, no, my wife's been watching a lot of Betty White stuff recently. We started watching Life with Elizabeth over on Amazon. I think it is like one of her old shows. And I think it's like episode 2 or 3, she's kind of flirting with the guy across the street. And he comes over and it's Joe Cranston, it's Bryan Cranston's dad.
Oh, wow.
It is so weird. It's just like super. It's like the year after I Love Lucy started. And I'm like, Lucy beat her by that much. It's really interesting to watch. But
Hulu just started showing there's a sitcom called The Golden Palace.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after the Golden Girls stopped. B. Arthur had left, and they wanted to keep doing the show, so they did Aftermath, you know. But it was the Golden Palace, and it was all everybody except for Dorothy, and they opened a hotel or something like that, and it lasted like a season, and then it was canceled.
Yeah.
But they just started showing that. And of course she was on, there's a sitcom that came on TV Land for a long time called Hot in Cleveland, and she was a regular character on that too.
Better than that show are the bloopers from that show, just like Betty White riffing and just cursing and talking smack. It's so good.
And of course we can't forget about Sidney Poitier, a classic film actor that I can't really speak about, because in all honesty, the only film of his that I remember seeing is In the Heat of the Night. But I know.
Never seen To Sir with Love?
No,
I know. Dinner?
Dude, you just start naming movies. I just told you. I know that he had a
very surprising.
contribution to Hollywood and his presence in film like paved the way for a lot of men and women of color that came after him.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yeah, I didn't realize that In the Heat of the Night was the first of it, like a trilogy that he did. Because they called me Mr. Tibbs, and there was another one called The Organization that he was in. It played the same character. So
it is, it's very maligned, those other two, but they're actually pretty good, I think. Like,
see, my mom and dad used to watch the show all the time.
Me too.
And so it was a few years later. I didn't realize that it was a movie first. So I went back and watched the movie. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think those other two movies, their biggest sin is that they're not as nearly as good as In the Heat of the Night. They're still pretty good. Just not nearly as good.
Let me ask y'all something, because I keep meaning to look it up. I've been so sick that just, being motivated to do anything other than maybe click something has just not been there. Was Poitier on any TV series like back in the 70s?
Like starring on or appeared ever?
Well, like starring on, because for some reason I seem to remember seeing him more on TV than in movies, because it's very unusual that I have actually seen any of his movies, because he's not generally in the kind of movies I watch, but I did see To Serve with Love a few times over the course of my life. But I thought I remembered him.
It could be you're just remembering seeing his movies on TV.
It could be.
That would be my I think that's probably what it was.
Sidney Poitier.
But he's been a star, capital letters underlined, a star as long as I can remember. So it's like,
I mean, he did several TV movies and TV miniseries in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, he did a TV. Well, this is back in the 50s. He did a TV series called The Philco Television Playhouse.
A little before my time.
Pond's Theater.
Yeah, he did do some in the 90s. He did some TV miniseries. He did 3 or 4 of them.
Okay, maybe he was just like on a lot of variety, appeared on shows and stuff. And I just, Michael Douglas and Dick Cavett and all those talk shows that.
All right, so Spider-Man No Way Home, the movie that Marvel fans and Spider-Man fans have been waiting for forever, finally came just before Christmas.
And so did I.
What'd you guys think of it? Rick, what'd you think of No Way Home?
I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. It was great. It was notable for us in that it was the first time that Sharon and Emily and I all went to a movie together. Because usually the way our schedules fall, one of us will take Sharon to a movie, but we all three went together and we loved it.
Well, didn't you say she went to see Ghostbusters with you too?
Oh, maybe it was Ghostbusters. You're right. Sorry, my brain is. Wait a minute. Was Ghostbusters first?
Yeah.
Okay, then that was the first one we all saw together. We also all went and saw Spider-Man together too, which is another great thing. Sharon is finally of the age where we can all go to see. We don't have to go. Oh, who's going to watch Sharon? I was like, oh, Sharon, you want to see Spider-Man? Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. I really enjoyed it. I've only seen it the one time when it, so some of the memories of it are a little vague, but I enjoyed all the performances, the guy that played Octavius, he was also in Raiders.
Alfred Molina.
Yeah. Fred Molina, and watching him and Willem Dafoe just chew on every bit of scenery they could get near was awesome. It was fun. They weren't going, let's make Spider-Man gritty. It was just like, we're gonna have a blast with this movie, and they did.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything was particularly surprising. There were no great reveals or anything. It was just a fun superhero movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, when I watched it, I was like, I bet Rick is loving this, and I bet he hates it. He loves it.
No,
because you don't like multiverse stuff.
and I even said that at one point. I said that to my wife while we were watching. I'm like, because she's like, "You're enjoying multiverse." I'm like, "Yes, they're doing it in a way that because they're not. What they're not doing is what DC does. And forgive me, Dave, but the
I don't know what you said yet.
The thing that DC does with their multiverse that drives me up the wall is it's like, we're going to kill this character and then go get number 42 of him and bring him back so that they're not dead anymore. And they're a little bit different, but it's, at least that's what they kept doing on the Flash. And it was driving me crazy. There were no
Wells.
Yeah. And,
okay.
And that kind of stuff where it was like, if we kill off a character and it turns out that character was making money for us, well, we've got 400 others of them, just over there on Earth 12. And, but the way Marvel is doing the multiverse, they're all different. And I'm sort of digging that. I'm liking the way they're doing it. They're handling it in a way that's not making me crazy. That's not sucking away consequence from anything that happens in the universe we happen to be watching.
Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see Crisis on Infinite Earths from CW?
At that point, I had given up on the Flash. I watched the first 4 seasons and it just got real repetitive. And I was like,
I felt like they did a really good job with the multiverse over there doing that. We actually had Ezra meet Gustin. We had 2 or 3 different Supermen. Like they did a fair job paying homage to the old stuff. And that's one of the things I love about No Way Home is they picking up where the characters left off. Yeah. Kind of giving us a wrap up to those characters, but also seeing those characters all interact and seeing the different versions of those characters and celebrating the different versions of those characters. I was a big fan of how they did that here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of cautiously optimistic to see the Spider-Man film. I was excited, but we had seen so much stuff. We had heard so many rumors that I was afraid that they were going to do some of the stuff that Infinite Earths did that I didn't like announce all these people that's going to be in it. And then it's just like Burt Ward walking his dog and he has nothing to do with the plot at all.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him.
But everybody that was involved in this was pretty central to what was going on. They had something big to do in the film. And nobody was just showing up and just had a couple lines and then disappearing. It was pretty inclusive.
If there was a big surprise, if there's a big reveal, it was that there were no cameos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even Murdoch seemed weighty, even for like the 3 minutes he was on screen. It seemed like there was some weight to it. But that's possibly just because it was also like, by the way, this is in universe now. And like, finally, I didn't waste my time watching all that Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I thought it was anyway, because they were fantastic.
See, I didn't even know.
Of course, my wife and I were going, look, it's him.
Yeah, I went to see it with my son, and I didn't know that was going to happen. And when he showed up, I was like, "Oh, is he going to have something to do with it?" But of course, he didn't. But but it was cool to see him, and it was cool to say, "Okay, this is included now."
Mm-hmm.
Everything but Iron Fist. No, I'm kidding.
No. I want to see Heroes for Hire like properly on Disney Plus, like Luke Cage.
Because that's the same week this came out, we also had Kingpin show up on Hawkeye. So
it's very exciting.
Yeah. John, what about you? What do you think? John?
I don't like these looks. No. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw it day after Christmas, maybe day or two after Christmas.
Yeah, I saw it on Christmas Day. So
yeah, which was it had been out for like a week and a half at that point, maybe. So the internet is the internet. And fun fact, I don't like getting spoiled on stuff. Mm-hmm. So I had heard at this point, rumors had begun to solidify. Is he going to be in it? Is he going to be in it? Is he going to be in it? Well, at this point, there's stills are starting to pop up on the Facebook feed. yeah, he's definitely in it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily show how much he's in it. But like, I'm like, okay, I don't want to, it was a race against the clock for me to enjoy any surprises. So I didn't know Matt Murdock was going to be in it. I think like that. I think that morning, there was something that indicated to me that he was probably going to be in it. I didn't know for certain that the other Spider-Man were going to show up, so that was nice. I figured I thought that they would, but I didn't know that they would.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Doc Ock was going to be there because there was no avoiding that one. I knew, and yeah, I think there was straight up like there was an interview with 3 villains that popped up and went, well, shit, I guess they're in it. I guess they're the bad guys. So
yeah,
but even I didn't know what the plot was, and I didn't really know what capacity anybody was doing anything. So it was great. I had never seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like I didn't because I didn't really like the first one, and I was like, I'll get around to it. And 10 years later, or when did it come out? It was like
2013.
13 or 14, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. So I just maybe a couple of months ago, I was like, I don't think I never did see it. And I was kind of on a Spider-Man because I think we had watched Homecoming, and you know what? No, I made them watch Spider-Man 2. I was like, okay, well, this is the best Spider-Man movie. So you guys need to watch this. I didn't show them Spider-Man 1 first.
Oh.
Well, because they knew who he was.
I don't know how you folks do this. People who watch Star Trek 2, you don't need to see the motion picture. Watch Star Trek 4, you don't need the other.
It's not my standard. Typically, I do go 1 to 1 to 1, but they're
2, 3, 4, and 6. That's all you need with Star Trek.
We're talking like 8 and 10. There's a limited attention span. So I gotta hook them.
Hey, one of my oldest,
the best one.
One of my oldest friends, when we were teenagers, and he was like, "Oh, you got to watch U.S. Marshals." I said, "I haven't seen The Fugitive yet." He's like, "It doesn't matter." I'm like, "Of course it matters."
It didn't matter.
The Amazing Spider-Man
between those two.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, it's not the best written movie, but visually it was great.
It was fine.
Great
I think I liked it. You know what I didn't like about it, and I think this is a common complaint, I guess, about the Andrew Garfield. He was just cocky.
Mm-hmm.
I found him to be cocky, and it's
Spider-Man's supposed to be cocky, though.
It's one thing. Let me finish. It's one thing for Spider-Man to be cocky, but Peter was cocky.
Yeah, that was my problem with them too.
That's what I didn't. So I didn't love that rendition, and I didn't see any particular reason that I needed that rendition because I got 100 other Spider-Man shows and movies to watch. So I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah,
I wasn't shitting on them, but it wasn't my thing.
After the Prodigy review, I'm seeing a pattern with your opinions. You just don't like cocky characters. That's
It depends. I like Lorca. You don't get cockier than him.
Look, he could be like the worst piece of shit ever, but just because Jason Isaacs is playing him, I'm like, yes, yes, give us more.
It's not. I don't. It's not that I didn't like cocky. It's that I didn't like Peter Parker cocky.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the antithesis of his character.
Yeah,
to me. But I did. I finally saw the second one. Because you know what it was? Because I think I saw some clip from something and I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, this must be that Marvel movie that I didn't see. This must be that one Marvel movie. Actually, it's probably more than one. But it's that one Spider-Man movie that I didn't see.
Was that the one with Topher Grace as Venom?
No, that was Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3.
3.
That was Spider-Man
That
3.
was
Maguire,
that
yeah.
was Tobey
I,
Maguire
I,
Spider-Man
I lose
3.
track of who was in what when. And
Which also was not terrible.
wasn't terrible, no.
It would, but compared to the first two, not great. It's like it's got the Matrix stink on it. Like, after you've hit that high, it's hard to live up to that with a sequel.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't know that I would have had. Had you seen all of those movies before you saw this one, Rick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you
Okay.
Yeah, I saw them all.
No,
when
I know
they
you
came,
had.
when they
That's
came
what,
out.
that wasn't
Yeah, no, I've seen all of the Marvel superhero movies.
Yeah, you said there were no surprises. I was surprised. Aunt May was a surprise.
Yeah, but that was less of a, oh my God, they did. It was more of like, holy shit, they did that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they did get a little gritty. They did get a little gritty on this one.
Little, but
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, but but just in terms of, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
But that's the best. I didn't see that coming, which is they laid everything out for you so that it makes perfect sense, but you still didn't see it coming. That's like, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
I mean, I can't say I'm happy they did that, but they did it in a way that was it fit the plot. It worked. It was, and they didn't undo it.
No, it was very, it was very Spider-Verse, because you know the story of Spider-Man. So when you see things happening, okay, well, I know how this is going, but then the thing happens, like, oh, this is a different version, and then this version that happens, and so the story is always the same, but the story is different every time.
Mm-hmm.
And they've established that that's a Spider-Man thing. It's great.
I think it fit. I think it worked, but I can never truly be happy about less Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Oh, no one's happy about it.
Yeah, see the whole Uncle Ben thing.
I'm sorry, did I say I was happy? I'm not happy.
Nope, you didn't.
A lot of people are saying that, well, they had to kill Aunt May because we never saw him kill Uncle Ben, but that doesn't mean that the whole Uncle Ben thing didn't happen. We just didn't see it, because the Uncle Ben death is necessary for him becoming Spider-Man, because Uncle Ben died because of his negligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aunt May didn't die because he was negligent. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Mm-hmm.
But yes, she was, but she died. She died to teach him a different lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the great power comes great responsibility, because he got
she did
that.
say that, right?
She did say it, but the lesson that he already knew that. I mean, because he said that in Civil War, if you can do the things that I can do and you don't, then it's on you. It's effectively the same thing. But she, he told her to get clear. Like, and from the beginning, they were even there because she was like, no, we need to help these people. I was like, okay, well, we'll try to help them.
Yeah.
And, Goblin goes bad, and he told her to get clear, and she did, because she was still trying to defend him, basically. Like, she was still trying to help. The lesson was, even if it's dangerous, you have to stand up and try to do the right thing. And she died because of that. She could have run. I mean, he probably would have chased her and killed her, but I mean, that's not the choice she made.
Doctor Strange was a little out of character, but he was a little more careless than we've seen him in the past. But I could almost believe that being blipped might do that to him.
I don't know that he was more careless. I don't think so. How do you?
Because it just doesn't seem like him to just willy-nilly, okay, and I'll make a spell, then I'll make everybody forget you and all this kind of stuff. It just didn't seem like something that the Doctor Strange that I've seen so far would just say, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, I disagree. And especially I feel like he would have said, no, that's too dangerous. And then Wong is like, no, don't do that. And he's like, so you don't think I can do this? Yeah. All right, come on, kid, let's do this.
Well,
no, okay. I don't think it's a question of carelessness. I think it's a question of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. This is no problem, pish posh, I got this covered. Like he doesn't conceive that he could fuck up the spell because he's Doctor Strange, and I never fuck up anything because I'm Doctor Strange. And he, you know, but he didn't forget he was dealing with Peter Parker.
He's like, do you know what I did to stop Thanos? I've got this.
I've saved the universe by myself. I'm good. I'm good.
Did anybody notice that? Go ahead.
I was saying apparently it's not a difficult spell because they used it to forget the toga party of 93 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Did anybody notice that? Okay, so he's doing the spell and he tells Peter after the spell fails, he tells Peter, hey, you made me change it 6 times. But then Peter corrected him and said, I only made you change it 5 times. Because Peter says, no, MJ's got to remember me. No, Ned's got to remember me. Aunt May's got to remember me. Happy's got to remember me. And then he says, basically everybody who knew my identity before needs to know it now. But then he said, well, you made me change it 6 times. So Strange changed it the 6th time himself because he didn't want to forget him. And that's why, because they had to bring it, they had to make it the Sinister Six, right? So there's 5 villains. There's 5 villains, and then the 6th one is Venom that we see at the end, you know, which he was in Mexico. He wasn't in New York, so he never got to be involved.
But he did leave a little.
I feel like you're at the whiteboard with the Charlie and the
yeah.
But okay, sure.
So let's talk about Andoria 4, shall we?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, they wanted to do the Sinister Six, so this is the Sinister Six, right? They've been talking about doing a Sinister Six movie forever. Well, here you go.
All right, okay.
You know what? I got to give.
I don't see that there, but I'm not going to tell you it's not there.
I got to give this movie credit for one thing.
Only
Fox, right?
Only one?
Yeah. Well,
only one thing.
Jamie Foxx was Electro. I've got the actor's name right?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
I did not like him in his movie at all. Mm-hmm. He was great in this one. I love the character in this one.
Because I think that's better writing.
Yeah. Because this is not. Here's another theory. This is not the same Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. This is a different Electro. He completely looked different. Plus the fact that everybody that came over was people that knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Electro never found that out in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Didn't he?
So he never found that out. So this is a different Electro. That's why he's not nerdy and everything, you know.
Well, he's
Jamie Foxx.
I was just thinking, like, because he wasn't nerdy after he became Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2. But if you could demolecularize yourself and then like reconstitute yourself, wouldn't you reconstitute yourself looking like current Jamie Foxx and not like Amazing?
It's also like Jamie Foxx is like, I'll come do your movie, but I'm not going to dress like that.
Yeah,
I did like that they did just the outline of the
face mask
thing.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
And they did mention the fact that they're like, hey, what happened to you? You look different than you used to.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on.
I mean, somebody posted that on the Strand Up Handed page, and that was my answer too. Like, because what about his receding hairline and teeth? I'm like, he's made of energy. Like any physical form that you see is just his, projection of himself. So yes, he's going to project himself that he feels is the handsome version.
Yeah, now, he's Dr. Manhattan who hasn't figured out how to be Dr. Manhattan yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Do any of y'all know? It didn't even occur to me to look this up. Did they de-age Fred Molina, or is he just living well? Because he didn't look any different from.
They de-aged everyone.
They did. Okay.
Yes.
No.
To a point, I don't think they went as far as like Michael Douglas or anything. I think mainly, I think it was just they dyed his hair, and once he puts those sunglasses on and everything, there's not they just airbrush.
Yeah,
they just airbrush some of his wrinkles out or whatever.
The real wonder was Defoe.
Yeah.
Well, Defoe is kind of timeless. He's always just looked 45 and veiny.
No, do a quick Google search. They de-aged the hell out of that man.
Okay.
He looks like an old catcher's mitt now. He looks like the guy from the Lighthouse.
I liked, and I only saw it once, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again when it's available. But I liked that just even some of the shots were very Sam Raimi type, like directing, like touch so good, so good, so good in every way.
I thought it was strange that that Sandman didn't take his human form until almost the end of the movie. So Thomas Hayden Church was just voicing a CGI character through most of it. You know,
it was weird, but it didn't bother me. I was fine with it. I'm like, for whatever reason they decided to do it, I was like, okay. What'd you say, Rick?
I said I could have honestly, if any character could have been excised from the movie, Sandman really, I didn't think played that big of a role. But that just may be my bias. I don't care for the character. I mean, the actor was fine. I don't find it a particularly compelling villain. I know he's sort of an in between, but
he was easily the best part of Spider-Man 3.
That's not a high bar.
No, no, I'm trying to give him a little something.
See, I don't even know if I would say that.
I think
Bad Peter was the best part.
Carter Oberst Peter.
Yes.
Bright Eyes Peter.
Yeah, dancing Peter. Yeah.
Twisted Disco Peter.
I did like his arc as
sounds like a
Spider-Man
condition
3.
you have to get a shot for.
I felt like after the second time through the collider or whatever it was that did it to him, I don't remember. I thought he just couldn't reconstitute, and if he had been able to get back into like human form before Peter cured him, then a lot of that weight would have been taken away when he does cure him. So I thought that's why they did that.
And also maybe it's just a different universe thing. Maybe there's a slight different molecular gravitational something, and it's just tougher for him to maintain his structural integrity. The blah blah blah, the science blah blah blah.
I did like that they got rid of Green Goblin's mask like really early on, because you know, a lot of times when you bring big names into comic book movies, they don't want to wear the mask. The filmmakers don't want to put a mask on him the whole time, because
anyone could wear the mask.
We've got this big name, we don't want to cover his face up. That's why in a lot of Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man takes his mask off a lot when he probably shouldn't, because they don't want to cover up his face the whole time. So
Robert Downey Jr.
yeah. So they just destroyed the mask immediately so that, you know, they could just keep his face uncovered.
Which Willem Dafoe's face is the Goblin. Why would you cover that up in the first place? It was
a couple of days after I saw the movie, I was watching the original Spider-Man. I just had it on in the background while I was doing some other stuff, and my wife came into the room and sat down and started watching it. And Goblin was on the screen, and she was like, "Why doesn't his mouth move when he talks?" I was like, "Well, I mean, it's 2002. They didn't really." It's like, plus, it's a mask. I mean, Spider-Man's mouth doesn't move either.
The conceit was it's a military protective face covering shield helmet, blah blah blah. So but that looked like a goblin.
So now Ned has Doctor Strange powers for reasons. And he opens up a couple of portals and brings in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire into the story. So, and they go and talk.
Fine. He had Strange's ring.
He's got some magical abilities. It doesn't make him he doesn't have Doctor Strange powers.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange had a problem opening the portal in his movie because he was so arrogant. But Ned doesn't have that arrogance. He's just
the
like
opposite of arrogant.
He's just like, "Oh, I accidentally did it. I don't know."
Yeah, he just like waved his hand and whoa, there's a portal, and then
he couldn't close it, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, he still had trouble opening it, so I was okay.
They go and they talk to Peter because this is after Aunt May dies, and that's when we kind of find out some stuff that happened after their respective movies. Mainly, the Andrew Garfield's character went dark after Gwen Stacy was killed, and he said he stopped pulling his punches. Like, that really makes me want to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3. I want to make that movie. I'd like to see dark and gritty Spider-Man.
John's like, I don't know. That sounds really cocky.
Well, I just don't know that it would be that interesting a story.
I think it could be. I would.
It could be.
I want to see it. I want to see Amazing Spider-Man 3, and I want to see that like be the first. I want Emma Stone as Ghost Spider, as Spider Gwen.
Yeah.
Well, she's dead. I mean,
that one is.
We just saw multiverse, man.
That one is.
I did like, when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saved MJ from basically the same death. And that was a good scene.
Are you all right? Are you all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I love Zendaya, by the way. I just want to she has blown me away in every one of these movies as MJ. She's just fantastic.
Oh, we actually got the confirmation that she is Mary Jane, technically.
Yeah.
Well, she's his MJ. That's what they said a couple times. This is, because Gwen Stacy was my MJ.
Well, they actually said,
her name was Michelle Jones Watson is her name. Yeah.
And then she was like, I don't use Watson. Like, oh,
I don't know about that.
I'm MJ. Yeah.
I like the bit about they were reading the rumors and using his spider hypnosis, like, as you wish, my spider lord, or something.
Yes.
So it all culminates in this big fight scene at the Statue of Liberty, which the Statue of Liberty is under construction because they're adding a Captain America shield to it and other things. I like that all that stuff just kind of falls off of it by the end of it. Did you notice that in the trailer? There was that big shot of like 3 of the villains flying in from this side and 1 Spider-Man, and then in the actual film it's all 3 Spider-Man.
No,
you can't trust a Marvel trailer, man.
No,
they'll take you out. I do like that. I do like that they do that. Was anyone
serves you right?
I was happy with it, but I saw so many people say, "Oh, obviously," because look, we had set pictures leaking. I couldn't avoid it for 6 months before the movie came out, and everyone was like, "Look, the climax is happening on the Statue of Liberty. We're doing multiverse. That means the X-Men are going to show up." I was so happy the X-Men did not show up.
Oh no, that would have been. I think that would have been too much. Yeah.
But I have friends over at Stranded Panda, like Matt, who's, oh man, like, did you see like when Strange with like all the different people were coming through? He pointed out that there was apparently, I didn't see it, a stork, like from WandaVision. Mephisto stork.
I did see like the rhino. I did see the rhino in there.
The only one that I remember clearly seeing was the rhino. Now I was watching it. I saw it at the drive-in. So like there were some headlights. It wasn't it wasn't necessarily the best cinematic viewing experience. So I couldn't like fuzzy details. Oof. I was not going to be able to make out, but I did clearly remember seeing the rhino, and I want to say like other versions of the villains that we already saw. Like I don't know.
I was really hoping that Miles Morales would show up at some point in this, but it was not to be.
Didn't we see him wasn't there an after credits thing?
No, that was
they referenced him. They referenced him kind of. Because Jamie Foxx was like, well, you're from Queens, blah, blah. I just kind of.
Isn't there a black Spider-Man? Yeah. Isn't there a black Spider-Man or something like that?
Like, I'm sure.
I said, some of the details are kind of vague because it's been a month. But yeah, I thought I saw him, but I think you're right. They just mentioned it. But he was definitely referenced.
Yeah. Did anybody think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was dead?
No.
I not really.
I kind of think that if he had died, so on the one hand, if he had died, I think it would have been a little too much because Mary Jane,
exactly,
had already died.
That was my thinking.
But on the other hand, he got stabbed and then they played it off like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I get stabbed all the time or something like that. Oh, my back hurts. Now, when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were popping each other's back, I love that scene.
My wife says that what the Miles Morales reference was somebody when one of the Spider-Men took his mask off. Electra said, I thought you'd be black.
Yeah. He says something like, isn't there any black Spider-Man or something like that?
Well, that's what he's like. You're from Queens. You basically, he gets like 3 kind of young kids. I just, I thought you might be black. You wear the mask. I thought you might be black. He's like, no, sorry.
But as much as I wanted to see Spider-Gwen, as much as I wanted to see Miles Morales, because look, Into the Spider-Verse is still my favorite Spider-Man movie. Period. But I do think having them there would have not served the Peter Parker storyline.
Yeah, that's true.
He needed he needed all of them.
If we could have just maybe in the sky when we saw those villains, maybe if we could have just seen Spider-Ham coming through or something like that.
Oh no, I'll do you one better
Maybe
than
you
that.
did.
I'll do you one better than that. I wish we had gotten Nicholas Hammond from the old 70s Spider-Man show.
Yeah, he
actually
actually made a comment that he would like to have been involved, but he wasn't invited. So
yeah, well, I'm fine with that because nobody watching that movie would have known who he was.
I would have.
Nobody but the Marvel super nerds would have.
I don't know that he would have fit in that climax at the end.
Well, I mean, he didn't have to like fight, but just even if he had just made a cameo,
but only if he was hanging from a wire, climbing up the outside of the building, trying not to swing away from.
Not even climbing, just hanging on to the side of the building. Because they used to just put him on the side of the building and then just fly around in a helicopter, taking pictures of him just hanging there and not moving.
Yeah.
Or you jump onto the ceiling and they just flip the camera.
Yeah.
So in the end, Peter has Dr. Strange make everyone forget about him, including MJ and Ned. And then Peter finds MJ and he plans to make her remember, but he realizes that she's only going to get hurt. You know, he sees that Band-Aid on her face and he's like, it's better that she doesn't get involved in what I'm doing, you know? So, and I want to point out MJ and Ned are not in a relationship. There was
different.
Was that a thing?
There was
another
podcast that I was listening to that they were arguing about that it looked like they were in love. And I'm like, no, it didn't. They're just friends. MJ and Ned did not get together at the end of the movie.
No, there was no indication that there was anything beyond friendship.
Yeah. So and then we got the mid-credit scene where Venom is also here, but he's still in Mexico, so he got left out of the whole thing. And then he gets sent back when everything goes back to normal, but he leaves a little bit of his symbiont goo behind. So if you had never seen Venom Let There Be Carnage, there was a post-credit scene. It's the
we said we're talking spoilers for this movie.
Take your headphones off.
Take your headphones off, John.
Fine.
There was a mid-credit scene in that film where he gets transported into the MCU, but he's in Mexico when it happens. So he's in Mexico and he sees on the television, he sees J. Jonah Jameson telling everyone that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So we know he's in the MCU. And then when this movie starts, you know, I'm kind of wondering, well, where is he? I mean, he didn't show up. No, at the end of it, he's still in Mexico. He's drinking.
I didn't even realize the second Venom movie had come out because I really didn't enjoy the first one. And
second one was pretty good. The second Venom movie is
I'm just finding I don't like Tom Hardy, and I
saw the first one. I saw the first one. I could probably see
the
second one.
Tom Hardy is awesome.
I've seen him in Star Trek, I've seen him in Batman, I've seen him in Venom, and I saw him in Mad Max, which was a great movie that absolutely didn't need his presence at all. Fury Road. Mad Max could have not been in that movie, and it would have been the same film.
You didn't like him in Batman?
Not really. I mean, I didn't dislike him, but it was. I mean, I didn't particularly care for that movie. I didn't
join the MCU until I was a man.
I like Tom Hardy. I've seen the first Venom. I watched the first one. I haven't seen the second one yet. I don't know if it was how the character was written or how he portrayed him, but I was like, you got to be more charismatic than that. Like, like I get that you're not dashing, but man, you look like shit, and you're not like
that. I mean, they play it as though it takes so much energy. Venom is using so much of his energy that
I get that, but he's like. Even before that, he's what was it? Ratso Rizzo? Was that the Dustin Hoffman guy who just kind of squirrely all the time? I'm like, that's not you can't be a good investigative reporter if you're
Well, in the almost the whole Let There Be Carnage, he's dressed as Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, he's wearing, if you look at a side by side of Tom Hardy and Let There Be Carnage, Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop, he's wearing the same clothes, the Lion's jacket and everything.
Always, I keep in mind I have not seen the Venom movies. I just kind of spoil myself on them because I'm like, I don't really care. I will go back and watch them now, especially. But wasn't the point of Eddie Brock is that he was always like kind of a shitbag who didn't know how to do anything correctly? Like he was never like a good investigative journalist or photographer or anything that they made him.
That certainly came through.
Yes. That's why he was always so susceptible to the Venom symbiote, because like that was the only way he was ever anything.
But in the first one, it's not like he's bad at it. He seems like he should be bad at it, but apparently he's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you got a mediocre actor but the role is written that he's the most handsome person ever, so everybody's got to treat him that way, even though like you're looking at it and like how. I mean
even in certain iterations, like he wasn't great, he just wasn't, and he wasn't bad. He just. And then you have someone like Peter Parker taking pictures of Spider-Man, and I'm not gonna go with Eddie Brock. He doesn't know. I'll go with this Parker kid. I mean, I don't know. I'm good with him being kind of just a mediocre. Like I'm good enough at my job that I'm not fired, but I'm also a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, he's also he can't really get fired because he's kind of in the movie. He's like freelance blogging or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really.
Now, I'll admit, I don't have the same animosity for Venom like I do for like Ant-Man. I'm just kind of like ambivalent to Venom. Oh, I hate Ant-Man. You haven't heard me go off about Ant-Man?
But I have not yet. No.
Oh,
you will.
Say the thing about the Venom movies is like I said before, they've
all heard this.
They're not good movies. They're not good movies, but they're fun. They're fun.
I didn't dislike the first one. It was fine.
You're talking about Ant-Man now?
No. Venom.
No, I'm trying to avoid getting into Ant-Man because
all I'll say is that Ant-Man did break the universe with the with the rules of the science. It did break the universe.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Internal consistency is all I ask of a movie.
All right, so
I view it more as there are just, even though Pym thinks he understands everything, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Raimi was very happy to see Dr. Octavius in the film's first trailer, praising the character's appearance and tentacle animation. There's a phrase you won't hear anywhere else: tentacle animation, while also expressing excitement to see the full film. Now, Sam Raimi's directing the Doctor Strange movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Tom Holland helped save this movie from cancellation by forcing renegotiations between Sony and Disney. Under the terms of the new deal, not only does Spider-Man No Way Home still take place within the MCU, but Spider-Man can also appear in future MCU movies as well as Sony's own Spider-Man franchise.
Tom Holland is a superhero just on his own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is just awesome. I've never been so enamored's not the right word, but it's like
that's fine.
Just
taken.
Platonically enamored.
I mean, he's just he's cool. I love how just into being Spider-Man he is. Mm-hmm. I love watching interviews and press tours where the other stars have to sit on him to keep him from spoiling everything he's done.
Have you seen? Do you guys watch Hot Ones?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's.
I know what it is. I know.
It's a great YouTube interview show where actors get interviewed while they're eating hot wings that get consistently hotter as they go through. And Tom Holland did an episode like right after this right before this came out. And it's a pretty good episode.
And he and Zendaya are a couple. Could not be any cuter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He single-handedly saved the Spider-Man franchise and he's dating Zendaya. Like, dude, congrats. you
Ned wonders out loud whether or not there is another Ned out there from other universes, other parallel universes. In the comics, Ned Leeds is a Daily Bugle reporter who gets brainwashed and becomes Hobgoblin. So that's, I mean, when he says in the movie, he says, "I promise I will never become a supervillain and try to kill you." That's what he's talking about. He's Hobgoblin. Spider-Man No Way Home takes place directly after the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, meaning that it takes place in the summer/winter of 2024. And in the scene where Peter is walking up the stairway to his school and there's a big mural of famous scientists behind him, if you look in that mural, you'll see Howard Stark, Dr. Abraham Erskine, and Hank Pym mixed in with all those scientists. And I thought this was pretty cool. The Spanish dub of this movie, they brought back the Spanish voice actors that played all these characters originally to do the voice dubs.
Oh, cool.
In this. Nice. So, and then I've got in my notes, if nobody had mentioned Matt Murdock yet, don't forget about Matt Murdock.
I didn't realize how much I missed that character until I saw him on screen. I was like, no, we need more.
Yeah,
like they could have had him do that cameo and not have him do anything Daredevil-y, and it would have just been fine. It would have been fine. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there was a Daredevil-y thing. Oh yeah, okay. So little things that I loved in this movie. I didn't write this down, but I'm just trying to remember that. I loved that scene where Murdock caught the brick, and he's like, "How did you do that?" I'm a really good lawyer. I liked that Strange knocked Peter out of his body and he was still avoiding him.
Yeah, because his spidey sense, so spidey sense, he wouldn't let him. Yeah,
he's like, how you're not supposed to be able to do this. That was great. That actually,
like Peter still has superpowers even when he's not in his body.
It's so, I get, that is one of the things that I love about Spider-Man, is that by all accounts, he really, it seems like he shouldn't win these fights. And I understand how these supervillains are so annoyed and frustrated that they keep getting beaten by this guy who, yes, he's super smart and yes, he's super strong, but he doesn't look like he's either of those things. He looks like a dumb kid. And like the fact, it's one thing to get beaten, but to be beaten by someone who just really seems like they shouldn't win. And so like him doing that,
yeah,
one of the best scenes in the movie.
I did like the little conversation with Doc Ock and Tobey Maguire towards the end, because Doc Ock has his mind back, you know, he's not crazy anymore, and he's just like, "Hi Peter, how are you, my boy?" You know, like, yeah, at one time they really liked each other.
Yeah.
One of my favorite.
No, go ahead.
One of my favorite little moments in the movie when at the very beginning, when they swing up to the top of the bridge and he puts MJ down and he walks on and he's thinking, and she's like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh shit, sorry."
I got two more. When Andrew Garfield has to prove that he's Spider-Man, and he just kind of jumps up and sticks to the ceiling. And she's like, "Crawl around." It's like, this is plenty.
Yeah. And then Ned's grandmother like has him sweep or dust while he's up there or something like that.
Yeah. Can you get the cup? Yeah, sure.
Now I did like when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man reveals that his webbing comes from inside him.
Yeah,
it comes out of you.
It's like, that came out of you.
Call back to Civil War, because when Spider-Man's like, "Is that stuff coming out of you?" And when they're all working to cure the villains, and Electro's sitting at the table, and they're like, "Hey, let me ask you a question. Are those your Legos?"
Yeah,
you're never going to be able to do this, you ridiculous child.
I did like it was something that never even occurred to me. Maybe it's something they mentioned in the comics. I don't read the comics. So who was it was asking Parker for web shooters, and he's like, it'll tear your arm off.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that.
Somebody was bugging him trying to one of the was it Ned? I don't know. Somebody
Probably
was
Ned.
trying to get him. No, it was Electro? No. I don't know. Somebody, like I said, I only saw the movie the one time.
I remember somebody saying that, but I don't
somebody
remember
was
who it
trying to get.
either.
He's like, "Oh, can I get some of those?" And he's like, "You're not strong. It'll tear your arm off. You need spider strength to hold on to this stuff."
I don't even remember that.
I don't remember that at all. One of the many things I have to look forward to. I'll see it again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What is it, like a few days before it's on Disney Plus?
Will it be on Disney
This-
Plus? Because the Spider-Man movies haven't been on Disney Plus because they're Sony.
Have they not?
I don't know.
They'll be out there on demand.
They're not. That I was shocked and dismayed to discover this like a month ago, and I wanted to rewatch them. But yeah, no, I had to.
Does Sony still have its own platform?
I got them through Amazon. I just bought them through Amazon.
No, you have to rent them. Well, okay, so the first 3 Spider-Man movies are available on Peacock. You can watch them there. Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are both you can rent them on like Amazon for like, I don't know, $3 a piece, $4 a piece, something. They're not expensive, but that's the only way that you can see them right now.
They're more expensive than they're worth.
Yeah, I think that they have I think for like $7 or $8 you can like buy both of them.
I
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a glitch. I don't know if it's some special membership something, but like a few days before Christmas, I got them for free. Like I got a
Christmas present. Somebody gave you a Christmas present.
It was like I went to buy them and it was like price 0. I was like, sold. And
you sure you didn't redeem somebody's gift card that they had put into the account?
I mean, technically that's possible, but it's not likely. And also that he beat the mirror dimension with math. That was great.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the fight between Peter and Doctor Strange in the weird dimension.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was another thing I didn't realize that I missed was, I mean, I saw the Doctor Strange movie. I like the Doctor Strange movie, but there are things that are unique to the Doctor Strange movie that even though, you know, I've been watching the MCU for the 5 years after that movie came out, you don't see. That's the only film where there's only stuff that happens in a Doctor Strange movie. Mm-hmm. Like you see Iron Man do stuff in other people's movies. You see Cap do stuff in other people's movies. You see Thor do stuff in other people's movies. But the only movie where Doctor Strange, the only movie with the mirror dimension, the only movie with the hand, with the knocking your spirit out, all that stuff only happens in Doctor Strange.
No, that happened in
I know he knocked the Hulk out, blah blah. It's one time.
See, that's one of those things.
But it's not like an extended. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like there's a visual style to that film that I didn't realize was so unique until I saw it repeated in this film.
That's one of the things that I loved. That's one of the great things about the old crossover comics is you know, Thor shows up in a Spider-Man book and all of a sudden Spider-Man's running around Asgard. You're like, this is so weird. Like yes, the worlds are merging. Yeah. So I really love seeing stuff like that in the movies when they actually get to go into, you know, what makes that character's world tick. My God, I loved how they redeemed both Spider-Men. Because you know, there were always people who were like, oh man, their villains always die, and like they totally redeemed that and changed that here. And I was such a fan of that.
So, I really like how the MCU does that, because the MCU really does treat the films as though they're issues of a comic series, because in the comic books it's nothing for one character to cross over into another comic, and in these films it's nothing for Captain America to show up and to just be part of another movie, or Iron Man to be in the Spider-Man movie. And it's, you know, and almost none of these Spider-Man movies would work without Stark technology. Every plot comes down to either Stark technology or the bad guy is somebody that hates Tony Stark.
Yeah. Hey, did anybody else get like 50th anniversary Doctor Who special feels with this?
I mean, I guess I didn't think of it that way, but sure.
Yeah.
I swear I had the same dumb grin on my face the entire time.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed that they didn't do the 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other, but then I saw like they were taught like it was like a I don't know if it was an interview or behind the scenes or something, but they were like, we totally did that. It just wasn't on camera.
Yeah. Special features.
Yeah.
Get the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
All right. We could continue this all night, but I think we'll end here. What were you about to say, John? Go ahead.
I was just speculation. So what happened? They sent them back. They cured them. They sent them back to the moment they were about to die. They sent them just back to the universe. They just like, what do you think happened when they went back?
Well, I think that they're cured now. So they're not.
Well, yeah, they're
not
cured.
bad anymore.
Okay, but does that mean? So,
I don't think that they were taken from the actual moment that they were about to be killed. I think they were taken from the fight that they were killed in. So it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, here comes the killing blow, and now I'm gone.
I was pretty sure
come back and here comes the bullet that's about to kill me.
Yeah, I was pretty sure they said that they were taken from the moments before they died.
Well, so that's the last thing they remember.
Yeah,
they said that's the last thing they remember. So that's what I'm asking. So Sean, you think they're back?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty shitty to redeem all these characters and then just send them back and have them be killed.
I agree.
Yes and no. Well, the problem, I mean, the point was not, do these guys live? The point was that Toby and Andrew try.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to make sure that they lived. They can't control it, but I don't know how Doc Ock, for instance, gets out of that. Vision's son being in,
I don't know
how that happens.
I agree. Like I'm saying, I don't know especially if this isn't, that's the thing with the multiverse. You could say that, maybe this isn't exactly that same Doc Ock. Maybe, he wasn't in that situation.
Maybe them going back just creates another universe.
Yeah.
Loki
timeline branch.
Yeah, they branch off down there. Now they're in another universe where they survived, but the things that happened in the movie still happened. So, all right. So if you have theories about No Way Home, or you want to you have something that you wish that we had said, and feel free to let us know. Stay tuned. At the end of the show, we'll let you know how you can get in touch with us. But Dave, thanks for joining us tonight. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
First of all, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun here. I am on DC on Screen, the podcast that talks about the DC universe properties on film and television. I'm also on the Star Trek Universe podcast. I co-host over there, and we talk about Star Trek every week. So come join our riotous debauch.
All right, Rick, where can we find you, sir?
Trying to work up the energy to have a riotous debauch. I now have goals.
All right. And John, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on Captain Game Show, hosting Captain Game Show. I am not Captain Game Show, but other people play Captain Game Show, which I host. It's a game show.
He's the captain of the game. Now. He's the captain of the game show. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to join us again next time on Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast, when you might hear John say,
after much consideration, I have come to the conclusion that that kid's name probably wasn't actually Richie Rich. I think the poor kids were just fucking with him.